everybody, no tap here, and I'm going to be showing you my bow build today. So all you really need is 60 dex. You don't even need that much strength as long as you have a +9 black bow. Just copy over the top stats except for the endurance, go with however much you want as well as mind. I would say about 20. So I just got finished farming some bloodbone arrows because I just wanted to see what they would, do. If you want to do this build, get arrows soaring sting. If you have the DLC, or the arrows reach talisman if you don't have the soaring sting. If you have this, if you don't have the DLC and the big 25, go with sting and reach. If you don't go, well, if you do have soaring sting and sting. Lord of Blood's exaltation because of the arrows, but if you're rocking a status arrow, go with whatever this is. Otherwise, this is the flex slot. So is this. In terms of armor, as long as you're light load, you're good. This is because light load rolling is a lot faster when it comes to crouch attacks, which is your bread and butter. It doesn't have the full short bow. Oh wait, that it just has. Oh, its crouch attack is separate. That's actually weird, to be honest. Anyway, what I'm going to be showing you is strictly gameplay from now on. While I yappity yap 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 about the build. This build is actually halfway decent if you're looking for a good bow build. If you want a good bow build, this is what you need. For Fashion Souls, go with Onspot, but for anything else, go Letta's armor because of the dodge. I forgot about the orb. That seems to be the most effective way to dodge them. Anyway, for the build is, it's alright. 60 dexterity is there because I just wanted an all-rounder mage. But it makes a pretty okay bow build too. Grave build. Oh, sorry. Anyway, the build, because it uses bows, you have a ton of versatility. Because you're not locked to one damage type, you can actually use, like, say, fire arrows if it's weak to fire. If you want to go with pure raw hitting power, get the horn bow. There's like 8 non-million tutorials on how to get it. In fact, it is the easiest bow to get in the game, even though it does require some dodging and navigation. If you look it up, you'll find it in 2 milliseconds. Let's look at the upsides and downsides of the black bow. It hits a bit softer, but that's alright because it hits harder and is effectively a short bow. Because it has multiple different hitting combos. two ways, well, like, there's only one way to get the black bow, and you can't have burned down lane down. But you have to do some parkour on roofs. It's lower level. It's on the low. It's one of the lower levels, so you don't have to be stupid precise with it. You can just kind of do something and you'll get it. But let's look at the ups and downs. Of this bow. The downsides first. Lackluster damage, and that's it. Damage is lower, but come on, it's a medium bow, not a large bow. It's a mid bow, not a large bow. Oh, those fall like a sack of potatoes. Sorry. So, the main part about the black bow is it's fundamentally a short bow. It says light bow, but I don't give a fuck. So, compared to, say, the serpent bow, it hits worse, even if you don't have requirements to use the serpent bow, like say arcane, with its arcane scaling, which I believe you could. It has about the second best jump attack in the entire game. There are 3 different options if you want to go with aesthetic. Go Black Hood, Onsbox attire, Preceptor's gloves, and either Black Knife Greaves or another Preceptor's. If you are willing to sacrifice some physical defense for a bit of lightness. If you are looking for pure fashion souls, go with this loadout. If you want functionality, go Oath Seekers with Letas. It's a mix of fashion souls. And another thing to soup it up. Keep Preceptors for light load if you're going with 60 endurance because of how light you need to be light load. Because your weight load has to be insanely low to get light load, I would recommend personally to go with option 3, which reduces your fashion souls from the front to near 0, but gives you the best functionality. Go Black Hood, basically everything else because it works. But replace Onsbox attire with Raptor's black feathers. It looks like a C from the front. When it comes to bows, you want to use stronger bows. But if you don't want any fashion souls, use this or Mushroom Crown if you're using poison. Because this thing can inflict poison just as easily. I mean, even easier. I think that these guys are immune to poison, but you get the point. If you're looking for a halfway decent non-ranged weapon, look anything that's like for your offhand, if you need to, if you're going with the same build that I am, which is a free 80 mixed caster currently, for the love of God, like actually, for the love of God. For the love of God, I need an actual sidearm. And that brings me to non-weapons. Well, weapons that you can use that fit with the aesthetic, and weapons that don't, but are still really cool to build. The main Gauchi picked up in Castle in a Shadow Keep. Is about the second best dagger for parrying beside the literal parrying dagger. Actually, I think it is the best for parrying. Well, with affinities, the best dagger for parrying is a lightning infused Misericord with the parry Ash of War. If you're going with solo, but we're not. We're going with a sidearm that's formidable and strong. If you're running an intelligence build, go with the magic or cold infusions, because duh. However, if you're going with if you're gonna try to be using a parrying build, just stick with get the parry Ash of War, and then slap it on this. There are two main Ashes of War I want to talk about. Lightning Slash and Aspect of the Crucible Wings. Lightning Slash is dead simple. It is quite literally probably the best Lightning Ash of War in the game because it infuses your weapon with lightning for a short amount of time while giving you a metric fuck ton of damage. With the Fire Knight's Greatsword, not Fire Knight's Greatsword. On the Fire Knight's Short Sword, this can be used for quadruple affinity build, a quadruple damage build, has 4 different elements, which brings me to another sidearm. Old Trusty. One of 2 weapons that can have 4 different elemental types, making it unresistible. Safe to say it's halfway decent. I am not joking. This is literally halfway decent. This is because the split damage actually actually means you're just losing damage. In fact, if you want to go with Sacred Affinity, Sacred Blade, it is quite literally slaying. And the next sidearm is probably the best. Erd Steel Dagger. What comes to mind when it's a good dagger? To me, Erd Steel. Most people would say Reduvia. Mine is different. This thing has the highest scaling for faith at a staggering B. For physical. That's right, it has physical faith scaling. With a D. Compared to the Smith script weapons that get an E at base. This thing gets strong as scaling with impressive amounts. Which brings me to my final sidearm, the throwing blades. They're slow as fuck, even though they are literally called, even though the one that exists, the Smith's dagger, is like the only one, it is kind of slow, even when two-handing. Great as a sidearm, not good for anything else. Genuinely, the one use it has is TP. And in fact, you can't even use an Ash of War that infuses it with anything, because it's a Smith script weapon. Which makes it kinda shit. There's only two ways you can make it work. Magic or Flame Art. Flame Art is by far the better one. If the difference is closed in, this is like your best option, but it's still kind of shit. The build loses a lot of its flair. Sure, those things can only output like what, 700? Never mind, I take that back. They're halfway decent as a mid-range option, but they're Now, I have taken back what I have previously said. They're actually pretty good for this build. With a halfway decent starting Ash of War pro. The Smith script daggers are a paired weapon, meaning that they're actually when you two-hand them, you're not two-handing, you're actually just dual-wielding, which normally kind of sucks except for literally the backhands, which are one of the strongest weapons in the game. In fact, I'm actually gonna put them in as an honorable mention. For further distance, it's recommended to use piercing throw. But if they're really far away, use your bow and arrow. As you can see, I can't hit them. And it's not worth the effort of going closer. Bolts and arrows, 1 and 1. Well, 101. Have a smith grip as a side and just shoot. The black bow is probably the best bow in the entire game. I really like it.
Well, I took you for no matter it. Lay out your own.
Just remembered I grabbed this. It goes from 384 to 406. Which is a 20 jump. Which is small but worth it. There is 2 Ashes of War I would like to recommend. If you want to keep up aggression with bleed on them, use the Poison Flower Blooms twice. Good damage, good everything. If you need to, in fact, it is like the second. Good for killing stuff at close range, but not the best at really anything else. Honorable mention for sidearms are the backhand blades. I mentioned them. They're my favorite weapon class. If you want to use them, use Smith Script Circ or maybe just basic. Smith Script is better, has better dex scaling, while it's worse strength and dex scaling, was a throwable, while backhand blade is all reliable. Good damage, good everything. Except for that shitty 18 guard boost. Like, yeah. Imagine how quick the combo is. It throws so fast. If you're looking for this build, the perfect sidekick that you can place at the other side of the arena, Latenna. So heavily recommended is Piercing Throw for your sidearm, Special Script Dagger. You want a literal, you want the Prince of Death Staff if you're going with my exact same bit, if you're going with the exact same build that I am. But The Carrion Sorcery Sword is recommended. All you need to do is really probably invest 40 and it would get about the same results at close range. At close range, this build does a D- in performance, but at a range, it does S+ with many different options, including literal sniping. Okay, no, with this build, use the telescope. Where is the telescope? These one-ring nobles can be taken out in one uncharged. Let's change the situation a bit. Say I'm all the way here, which is where I currently am. I can choose the poison proc them, which probably work, resulting in one of them practically being dead. One weapon that can't crit doesn't mean because you're shooting high range projectiles. This is about the second best build you can get that involves arrow. Say they're getting close to you. This is why I recommended a weapon like this sorcery one. This build, deadly and efficient. The only thing that can outperform it is literally anything. This thing is hard to react to due to its immense speed. But speed somewhat is lacking. This one hits harder, but is softer in terms of overall damage if you mess up. If if only the second dagger hits, I know for a fact the damage will most likely be reducing to a pretty bad level, which is the reason why I recommend one-handing it. God, no! No, damn it. Anybody know tap out? Those things are my worst nightmare.